Greetings all. Welcome to the Avana Arcana, where I provide intuitive messages to help you water the garden of your life and blossom into the best you possible. And so for today, we are going to be doing more of a general collective reading for the Divine Feminine. I usually post pick a card readings on my channel, but I would like to start offering one reading a month where I just focus on the general Divine Feminine collective. And so for this reading, there's going to be about maybe like two separate groups of you. One group is for Divine Feminine who the message is focusing more on personal bonds with like family or within a relationship. And then there's another portion of you where the reading is pertaining to Divine Feminine collective who are in a career or purpose path that is like a spiritual career, or maybe you're creatives, okay? So that is what we'll be talking about today. Just to give you a heads up, these general readings will be a little bit more in depth. They may take a bit more time. There may be a bit more rambling. Sometimes I may even read from the guidebooks just to give you a clearer understanding of the meaning of the card, and then we'll dive in from there. But yeah, so go ahead and get comfortable, grab yourself a snack, some tea, something to drink, and you don't have to just sit down and watch the reading. You can do whatever in the meantime while the reading is playing in the background, okay? So let's go ahead and get started. So as you can see, I did shuffle and pull the cards because my spread is a lot larger than what I normally pull for my readings, and so I wanted to go ahead and get that out of the way so as to not take up too much of your time. And so you can see we have a full spread here. So I pulled some oracles and I pulled some tarot. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and go through the oracle cards with you first. And the first one that I pulled was this one, and this is the Family of Light card. And it's card number 17. And when I saw that it was card number 17, I automatically thought of the Star card in the tarot. And so it makes me feel like there is an energy of like healing that may be happening within a familial circumstance. Okay, and not only that, but we did get the Power of Healing card here, or Power and Healing card here with this floral deck that I have. And the flower on this card is the Trumpet Gentian. And it says, power and healing. To get what you love, you first have to be patient with what you have. To get what you love, you first have to be patient with what you have. Okay. And then I pulled the Balance card, and I'm just going to read what it says to you here. It says, for you to fulfill your potential, to become all that you can be in every moment, you must be in balance. Otherwise, you are resisting life and creating tension. This resistance and tension are needed to a certain extent for anything to expand, grow, and become more. Learn to recognize that resistance rather than letting it run you. Anything you don't like, sense it, feel into it, and the next logical action step will present itself. This step will move you in the direction of your potential, your dreams, and desires. Take a deep, gentle breath and thank whatever has moved you out of balance. Say to yourself, thank you. Thank you for showing me what I really don't want and reminding me to come back to my balanced place where I will be inspired to create what I do want. I am willing to experience all things, for in doing so, I become clearer with my highest loving path. Okay. And then a second floral card came out, and it says, it's the honeysuckle flower, and it says, domestic happiness and devoted affection. And the message underneath says, I will wind thee in my arms, so doth the woodbine, the honeysuckle, gently entwist. And that quote is by William Shakespeare. I will wind thee in my arms, so doth the woodbine, the honeysuckle, gently entwist. And the woodbine is another name for the honeysuckle. Okay. And we also got service as co-creation. It's card number 9, and it says, my service, no matter how great or small, is a conscious act of co-creation within the world. Okay. Okay, so let me just address this part here first, okay? And so what I was getting first is that there are some divine feminines who I feel like there's an area of healing, or I should say an energy of healing that is taking place in terms of familial bonds. Okay, this can be familial bonds, or it can be within a romantic relationship. And I say that because I kind of get a feeling that this may have a bit of a message for divine feminines who are single mothers. I kind of feel like there may possibly be some abandonment or rejection wounds or neglect wounds in terms of a masculine energy. And this may have to do with you and the absence of your father, or the absence of a male figure, an authoritative male figure within your life. Or it may have something to do, or I should say, or it can have something to do with you as a mother and the father of your child or children not being as present as you would desire. So I feel like there's maybe a divine masculine wound here in terms of children, and maybe even within yourself, okay, within your own personal life. I feel like there may be a bit of a struggle, some frustration, some sadness, and some hurt when coming to the father of your children. And so there may be some wounds there for you and your children in feeling like because this masculine may possibly be avoidant, may possibly be prone to making excuses as to why they can't do something or as to why they're not there. There's always an excuse, and these excuses leads to the children not feeling loved or important or cared for, or even just simply wanted. And I feel like that spills over to you as well. There could be a feeling, you could possibly have these feelings as well. And again, like I said, some of you, this is an ongoing pattern because you may have experienced this with your father. But like I said, I feel like there is an energy of healing that wants to move through this wound and start to heal this wound. But it is calling for you have to look at this and not make excuses for it, not avoid it. You have to look at it, you have to face it, and you have to try to take a moment to see what the message of this wound is. So how does this make you feel? The actions of this masculine, the choices of this masculine in your life, and what those choices lead to, what they bring, what it creates. What are the deep feelings that it triggers in you? You have to look at the trigger. And then from there, I feel like the healing can start to take place. So this card, domestic happiness and devoted affection, and then the power and healing card, I will wind thee in my arms, so doth the woodbine, the honeysuckle gently entwist. I feel like underneath it all, there is a desire for familial embrace, like a deep connection, almost like an energetic embrace that you are wanting with the divine masculine, or maybe with the father of your children or child, or with your own father, that maybe you never really got that in the way that your soul and your heart really needed it, in that nourishing kind of way. There may be a sense of like lack of nourishment in the heart chakra, and like within that area of your life. You may be feeling a little starved for that masculine embrace, or that masculine, like a healthy divine masculine connection, where that person, that masculine is a strong anchor and a strong support, and reliable and trustworthy and honorable, and he's solution oriented and protective, and does what he needs to do for you and for your family. Because in all of those things portray love. It embodies love. This is what the divine masculine does when they love something or they love someone. And so when those qualities seem to be lacking, when those actions seem to be lacking, of course, there's going to be a sense of feeling like there is no love coming from this divine masculine, or this divine masculine does not love his children, or this divine masculine does not love his woman or his family. We are not important to him. And you know what? I'm not even gonna, like, that's some hurtful shit. That's some hurtful shit, and it really causes deep wounding within children and within women. Especially when you feel like, you've done your part, you tried to be the best, you tried to add to the relationship in, the ways that you were told that this is what you do, and this is how you keep things good, and then this person doesn't hold up their end, and then turns around, and on top of all of that, walks away and abandons, and then when you try to reach out or you try to connect, there's rejection, or you're kind of like casted aside, or there's this energy of dismissiveness, okay? And then it's even more hurtful when the same let me not call them divine masculine, but the same person may go around and then have a child with someone else, and they're present in that child's life or with that woman. So this can be a very triggering and very hurtful thing to experience, but even still, there is power in it for you. And although it hasn't gone in the direction that you would most want, there is still value there, because there's a lesson there to be learned, and within the lesson there is power to be gained. And this may even be something that you can sit down and talk to this divine masculine with, or about, because like I said, there's power in healing here. So maybe for some of you, yes, there could be a healing with that divine masculine, whether it's your father or the father of your children, or there's power in healing in the acceptance for what is, and the direction that things have gone, and that this person is just not, they just can't give you what you desire. And in the acceptance of that, there is power in healing. Because one thing we don't want to do as divine feminines is waste our time with people and situations that don't feed us in return. Okay? There needs to be balance. There needs to be balance here. There is power in knowing when to move on, There's power in knowing, or even in standing your guard, standing in your boundaries, standing your ground, and maintaining your standards for what you know you deserve within a relationship. There are many of women who have created families with a man and it didn't work out. They knew their boundaries, they knew their standards. They left, they walked away, they learned what they needed to learn, and then they met someone who did check those boxes, or who was more of a match, and even the children end up being better for it. So I want to take a moment to read from the guidebook for this card here, Family of Light, because I really think some of you may gain some insight and some messages for that. Okay, so give me 1 second. Okay, so I'm not going to read all of it, just a portion of it, but it says, while healthier family bonds are necessary for many souls to experience their life lessons, the absence of such bonds can push you spiritually to overcome the pain of abandonment and become a child of love, to seek your family in unusual and expansive ways, to remain open and searching for love rather than satisfied by your immediate tribe and perhaps somewhat closed to those on the outside. Emotional abandonment by your biological family becomes the basis for your freedom or spiritual abandonment, which allows you to experience and express love beyond the confines of more conventional human conditioning. It may have been difficult for you to navigate the dynamics of your family in your early life. Perhaps you felt loved but misunderstood, the odd one out, unable to live the way the rest of your family seemed comfortable doing. Maybe you lost family members through divorce, illness of body or mind, or death, which prevented a feeling of truly being settled into your biological family of origin. If your father figure was absent, then, while you must do the emotional healing work to process the pain of that, understand that the potential spiritual gift of that absence is an unusually creative and free-spirited outlook on life and a heightened capacity for a conscious spiritual connection. If your mother figure was absent, while you are advised to do the emotional work to process the pain of that experience, there is a hidden spiritual potential in needing to look beyond your immediate family to find where you belong. Eventually, you had to open your heart to become spiritually capable of loving, belonging to, and being devoted to the entire human race as one spiritual family. You can come through your experience not as a victim of circumstance, but as an empowered soul strong enough to bear that pain, process it, and forgive, to learn to heal your sense of self and step into the spiritual blessings gained through your atypical relationships with your family, or with your biological family, loving and being loved in more expansive ways. It is time to embrace and be embraced by your family of light. Are you kidding me? It is time for you to, wait a second. It is time for you to embrace and be embraced by your family of light. It's time for you to be nourished by your kindred spirits here on earth. Is that not what I just said about you feeling like you need nourishment in your heart? And then we had the honeysuckle card talking about, I will wind thee in my arms. Is that not an embrace? It's the same thing. So, okay, let me just keep going. Let me see if there's anything else here first. Okay, so I want to read this part. If it has not happened yet, then now is the time to make peace with how different or unacceptable you may have once believed yourself to be. It is your time to gently undo the patterns of attempting to fit in and instead trust that you are exactly as you were always meant to be. When you realize this, you allow your magnetism to naturally draw love and friendship to those who vibrate at a similar level of consciousness to you. Leave any past hurts and rejections behind you now. Those who could not accept you were expressing their own fears of love. Their rejection was not about you, and you can forgive them and free yourself now. Now it is time to be brave and to pray to connect with your family of light, not only in the spiritual dimensions, but also in human form here on earth. Let them in when they seek contact with you. Know that you belong and can be loved, held, touched, heard, and accepted just as you are. Be brave as you allow any loneliness from your past to soften, as love in so many forms, heavenly and human, embraces you entirely as its own. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. So this is an invocation, because when I saw that the pray thing over here, what does it say? Pray to connect with your family of light. I feel like for some of you here in a familiar or romantic situation where the divine masculine is not present or is not doing their part, I feel like you can pray for what you do desire. Put the words out there, speak it, put it out there, but do the work first. Do the shadow work first. Face it. Learn, try to figure out what the connection is there, what the lesson is, the triggers and why you feel the way you feel. Ask yourself, okay, these things trigger me, but are these things true about me? In the sense of like how this abandonment or rejection or neglect makes you feel. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this true that I'm unworthy of love? Is this true that you know the answer to that? And once you do that work, then write out something, script it out, what you truly desire in a divine masculine partner, in a familiar relationship. Write out what you want, script it out, and then speak it, right? Because you do have the King of Swords here, and I feel like this is expressing clarity, intention, directness, and trust in what you put out, the energy that you put forth, the words that you kick out. And never again go back to complaining about this or speaking about this and speaking power over this and reiterating it over and over again to whoever will listen and trauma bond with you. Make a choice, a conscious choice, to move on from that, okay? Or if it's family and your family not accepting you and your children, start to tell a different story. Okay? But there's an invocation here that I want to cover really quickly. This may be helpful to some of you. And this is something you can say to yourself. It says, "The universe empowers my soul so that I may live my most beautiful life path and manifest love to help heal our world. I choose of my own free will to receive all manner of assistance from unconditional love so that I can peacefully process any unresolved hurt, rejection, abandonment, and betrayal. I have learned how to love more unconditionally through these experiences. I have learned that love allows all beings to be free to choose how they wish to live. I wish to live with openness, love, and connection in body, mind, and heart and soul, embracing those who can accept my love and love me faithfully in response. For those who cannot love me, I express my love as compassion and wisdom to live and let live. I am devoted to and protected by love in its many forms. Through divine grace, I ask for assistance in attracting my soul tribe and family of light, heavenly and human, so that I may experience belonging and conscious community, sharing my light and love with others as fully and freely as possible. May all beings feel the blessings of true family and of deep, abiding divine love. So be it." Or you can say Ashe. Same thing, okay? Okay, so that is the basis of the message for the Divine Feminine Collective who came to this reading, who may be single mothers, or who may have some type of wounding in a romantic relationship concerning children, or within like your family, your immediate family, and not feeling as loved or accepted, or maybe feeling like there was some form of abandonment or neglect or rejection within your family. But what I am seeing here is that you can change your trajectory with the words that you speak. You can also choose to speak this truth out to whoever you feel like has caused this harm of abandonment. You can speak your truth, spit it out. Don't speak the truth in order to get them to do a certain thing or to be a certain way or to change. Just speak your truth. You have the right to express that and then move on. Okay? And that may be something that is uncomfortable for you to address this person or to confront these people. But you have the step out of your comfort zone here. This could also be for those who have this specific form of love or romantic love between you and your partner and your children. You may have this fantasy, like you may have this fantasy about you with this specific person, but this specific person has been showing you that they can't be that for you. They can't do that for you. And so you have to move out of that comfort zone of that mindset of you wanting this with that particular person. When you do that, I feel like you will receive the inspiration and the sense of boundary and standards that you should be moving with to get to a better place and to come in contact with the energies and the people or the specific divine masculine that you are wanting to connect with. Because you have the Sun card here, and you also have a win-win out. Okay, lovelies, so here's what, my camera just cut off, and while my camera was cooling down, something said pull more cards. So I was looking at my cards and I said, you know what, I want to pull more cards. And so I did, and I pulled from the Ancestor deck, and these two cards came out. The Martyr, and it says sacrifice and self-reflection. And then the Trickster, which is the Devil card, says ego and excess. Here's the feeling that I'm getting with this. I feel like some of you may be very sensitive souls. You may have big hearts, and I feel like for some of you, you may be someone who keeps giving chances and keeps giving chances and keeps giving chances, to the point where you become the martyr. I also feel like for some of you, there's a dynamic happening with either your family or the father of your children, his family, where they may be blaming you for something, or maybe they have this way that they like demonize you and your family, or just you in particular, or you and your kids, or something like that. And it's a lot of back and forth verbally, and it can get a little heated maybe at times, where things are being said, accusations are being made, and you may feel attacked. There's like this tug of war between you and your children's father's family, or you and your child's father, or something like that. I'm seeing here that you need to stand your ground. You need to speak up more. I'm not saying argue. I'm not saying that you need to argue and bicker and fight and use your tongue to slash at people. But I am saying that you need to speak your truth, and you need to speak it with sternness. You need to hold your ground. And you need to say what you need to say and deliver that truth with confidence and don't allow others to intimidate you or get to you. I feel like you may have the upper ground even if you don't feel like it, and you are going to come out of this on the other end with things going in your favor, working in your favor. Okay. But these are the two cards that came out: the Martyr and the Trickster, which is the Devil. Okay, so for another set of you, this whole thing could also have something to do with the courts and the court system. Some of you, someone could be trying to, or the children of or the father of your children, or something like that, may have something to do with like your kids being held from you or kept from you. Or maybe even you trying to keep your children from their father. Something has something to do with the court system here. Maybe you're taking someone for child support. I'm seeing that if this does have something to do with the legal system or the court system, that things are going to work in your favor, but they are also going to work in the other person's favor as well. So something will work out for you and something will work out for them as well. And so it will be balanced, because this a win-win outcome is forecast. Win-win is like a win for you and a win for them too. And if you look here, the scales are completely balanced. I'm also seeing that some of you are being called to co-parent, and that some of you may be a little resistant towards it. Some of you may be even doing this out of a bit of spite and malice for your children's father. You may be upset, and you could possibly be making it a little difficult, or they may be doing this. But I see that there's a call for co-parenting, like loving co-parenting, like as peaceful or as neutral as you can do it, whichever one works for you. But there's a call for co-parenting. I say this because I'm looking at this card, and if you look, there's a nest egg on her head, and there's two little birdies coming to take care of the eggs in the nest. One of these birds look like they're very at home here with the nest, and the other one is visiting or coming to the nest. And so I think, for some of you, you're being called to co-parent peacefully for the sake of the children. Okay? And this may be uncomfortable for you because you may have your heated feelings about the other person or whatever. So it's not a comfortable situation for you. But I'm seeing here where it says step out of your comfort zone. You may be being called to take a higher ground, because this says a north node, so up. You're being called to tap into your highest self in terms of this, okay, in order to bring balance to the situation. Come out of your comfort zone, because right here it says it says, for you to fulfill your potential to become all that you can be in every moment, you must be in balance. Otherwise, you are resisting life and creating tension. So this part right here is what gets me. It says, this resistance and tension are needed to a certain extent for anything to expand, grow, and become more. But it says, learn to recognize the resistance rather than letting it run you. Okay, so anything you don't like, sense it, feel it, and the next logical action step will present itself. Okay, so I feel like that's what you're being called to do, and it literally says that right here. This is the Page of Wands right here, and it is a spark of inspiration. And once you get that spark, you're going to know the next steps to take. And when you do it, you'll come out winning in the end with the win-win solution, okay? So that's something else for some of you to take into consideration. And also, when I shuffled, when my camera had cut off and I shuffled and I pulled these two cards, I I realized that on the bottom of the deck, after I was finished shuffling, was the Star card. And remember, if you remember in the beginning of the reading, I stated that this card was number 17, which reminded me of the Star card, which reminded me of healing taking place within this situation. Okay, so the Star card did show up on the bottom of the deck, and then you also have power and healing here. Okay, and it says to get what you love, you first have to be patient with what you have. So I think for some of you, this is calling for you to have some patience within your situation in terms of the children and probably co-parenting. Okay. Yeah. I think soon you'll be able to see something from a new perspective, from a different perspective. And that'll help you to move forward with clarity and understanding. And then from there, that will help to bring about a balanced outcome for everyone involved, especially the children, okay, if there's children involved with this. Okay, some other things that I was getting when my camera cut off. Let me see, I have my notes here. Some of you, you're being called to let your children or your child be the spark that you need to come out of something that may feel a little, that you may feel a little resistant toward. Turn to your children, look at your children, and think about the bigger picture, which is what this is. Okay? This is the Hanged Man. So in order to get a better perspective or to see the bigger picture, turn to your children and think about what it is they need most. And how you as an adult and as a parent and as a mother can go about setting that into motion for them. And don't get stuck in this energy because you feel some type of way about what's going on. Okay? Think about the children. I'm saying that because if you look here, this just gives me the feeling of a child. These are a child's hands. They're looking into a crystal ball, and you can see the little stuffed toy in the back there. But that card is meant to represent the Page of Wands, which is like a spark of like new inspiration, like a new spark. Okay. Yeah, but something about taking the right action here is going to bring about some form of a cleansing vibration to this whole situation and really bring things into balance. It's going to lift some kind of a heaviness or dark, toxic energy, which is what is needed right now. And everybody will be able to, but you most importantly will be able to move from a place of clarity. Okay. Let me see, what else am I getting here? So there was one more thing. Like when I was shuffling these cards and this card came out, I got kind of a thought popped into my head, because the other day I was looking out of my window and I kind of witnessed something that like irritated me a bit. Okay, so I saw this guy and he was holding a young child. This child looked to be about 1 or so. Doesn't look like this child is at the age where she can speak. She barely could walk. She was walking around, but he was holding her. And there was a young woman standing at the top of the stairs at the front door. And they were talking, and at first he was holding the child, and then he put the child down. The child was going to like touch something on the ground. He told her no. She listened, but she remained like just walking around on the sidewalk. And then the young lady at the top of the steps, she goes into the house. She closes the door. He's still outside with the young child. And then about 4 or 5 other guys show up. And next thing you know, all of them are playing dice. Okay, listen, I live in the hood. Okay, so these young men, they're standing up next to the house. They're rolling dice, playing dice. They have their backs turned to the street. So it's like, this is the street. This is the sidewalk. There's a car right here, parked right here. They're standing here facing the house, and they're all huddled up and, throwing dice or whatever. This little girl who was about 1, she's walking around. They have the car doors open. Their backs turned. Their backs were turned to her. And she's just pip, 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 little pip of a thing, just walking around, stumbling around. She has on a diaper and an oversized t-shirt. And she's just thinking around. Every single one of those men had their backs turned to this little girl. Every single one of them. And I'm looking and I'm like, oh my God. Mind you, there's a street here, and the cars that come down this street, oh my God, the speed that they come down the street. And all I'm thinking is, all it takes is for this little girl to step off the sidewalk and walk into the street. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to have to watch her, because, and I'll have to like yell out the window or something like that once I see her making her way to the street for them to turn around or something. So I'm looking, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, this is not my child. This is not I'm not supposed to be the one, it's 4 or 5 grown ass men standing there. Every single last one of them has their backs turned, and they're yelling and thinking and throwing the dice, and, and I'm like, this ain't my job. And then the other young lady, she's in the house. I never saw her once come to the door, the window, or anything to peep her head out and check or whatever. I guess she figured, she's with whoever, the child is with whoever. She's good. She's in good hands. Apparently not. And so I'm watching the whole time, and I ended up, because I had things to do, I ended up having to come away from the window, but I said a little prayer for the child, and I'm just like, please protect her. Please don't let her go into the street. Please protect her, because I had to step away from the window. But when I came back, it's like all of them are still there throwing the dice. And at one point, there would be points in it where they would like step back from the wall, and they're talking to each other, and she was in between them. And at one point, when they all had their backs turned, she was like, down by their feet, and she was like looking and poking her head trying to see. When I tell you, none of these men paid this child any mind, any. At one point, she was right behind like the leg of one of them, and I'm like, if he steps back, he's gonna send her flying to the ground. She could hit her head on the sidewalk or whatever. It was just like, I was so annoyed. I was so annoyed. And there was another instance where one of the men turned around because he wanted to go sit in the car and scroll on his phone. So when he turns around, she was right there by his, by his lower leg, and he literally ignores her and does like this like swerve thing with his body so that he don't walk into her, and then just went to the car and sat in the car and was scrolling on it. Never touched her, never picked her up, never said, hey sweetie, nothing, never acknowledged her, nothing. Just walked right past her and sat in the car and started scrolling on his phone. And I'm looking at this whole thing play out, and I'm just like, so either way, I feel like that popped into my mind with this reading, because I feel like it kind of applies. And I feel like that's why I kind of got the thought. And so I feel like there's a little bit of a message in that, where some of you may feel that type of energy from the father of your children, or your father, or your family. You may feel that kind of like invisibility energy. like you don't matter, like you're ignored, or like you might as well not even be there, you know? Or you may feel that for your children, like you have a child who's a precious thing to create with someone, and that other person is just like, you know, like you might as well not even, they just don't acknowledge their child. And it's like they take whatever opportunity they can to run from their responsibility, or it's like an aversion to them, like they don't want to, you know, it's like they can't bring themselves to even face or look at what they helped create. And that's kind of the sense I'm getting from that story, or like why it popped into my head. I feel like it may apply for some of you here. And if that's the case, I am so sorry. That is just, honestly, I feel like it's disgusting. But if you want to look at it from a higher perspective, some people, they're just mentally and spiritually, they are just not in a space where they can be what you would like them to be. They're just not. They may have so much more growing to do, and it just is what it is, unfortunately. And so you just have to take whatever lessons you can from that and protect your children, protect yourself, and just continue to move forward and do what you need to do to the best of your ability. Okay. So yeah, and then I feel like for some of you, that story also kind of emulates like how you feel about the masculine in general. I kind of feel like there may be some of you who feel like men in general are just not delivering, like most of them are not operating from an evolved state, and a lot of them seem to want to run from the accountability and the work that it takes for them to get there, to be in their divine masculine. A lot of them like to put the blame onto the feminine, or make excuses about the cards that life dealt them. And it's like, we all have our shit, we all go through our stuff, but it's no excuse for you to be a jerk, you know, or to be neglectful to your children that you played a part in creating, you know. It's just no excuse. So I feel like, you know, that story can also emulate some of the feelings that some of the divine feminine who are tuning into this video may feel about men in general. Like they're just not up to par. And in terms of the complete message, I feel like in terms of stepping out of your comfort zone, you may have to step out of your comfort zone of the fairy tale or fantasy that you may have, and see things for what they are, and then from there decide what it is you want, and then map out how you can go about living the life that you desire. Because we can't control other people. We can't make people do what we want them to do or be what we need them to be. We can't make men. No amount of healing or shadow work that you do can make someone else want to do what they should be doing. Okay? Sometimes the shadow work and all of that and the healing is just for us. It's just for us. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink it. And that applies to the divine masculine. Like, no amount of journaling, therapy, scripting, manifestation, you know, sometimes a man is just who he is, and he's on his own journey, and or men in general. And you know, sometimes, you know, honestly, I feel like what it's going to take for the collective of men to shift is women not placating to what they were taught and honestly standing their ground and sticking to their standards. Because once you do that, anyone on the outside coming has to, they either got to fall in line or they got to stay away. If it doesn't match, it's like, don't lower yourself and don't settle because you feel like, well, this is what men are. And no, they're quite capable of evolving. The question is whether they want to or not. And from some of these podcasts and all this stuff, okay, it's kind of like you can see that they don't want to. They just want to stay in their low vibrational, and that's fine. Let them stay there. But the thing is, as women, we have to know, okay, well, if that's what you want, you stay there with that. But I'm not coming down off of my highest self to meet you in the bullshit where you are. Not doing it. So if that means that I'll have to be to myself, or, if that's the route that many women have to take, then so be it. But don't join someone in their mess, in their nonsense, in their filth, if that's where they want to stay. And don't give your energy out to men who don't deserve it. No matter how lonely or how, much you may be craving connection or that kind of thing. Yeah. It's tough, it's tough because sometimes too it's like the internet and social media, it can make you feel like you shouldn't want a romantic relationship, or you shouldn't be looking for a partner, and oh my gosh, you gotta heal first, and sometimes you could do all the healing and these men still don't act right. So we can't control what they do. We can't control other people. The only things that we can control is ourselves. They have to want to change. They have to want to evolve. And if they want to continue to, well then, hey, you got to leave them where they are. But I feel like, and you see where it's leading, because now they're talking about a male loneliness epidemic and all this kind of stuff. Well, I feel like they have brought that onto themselves. They have brought that on themselves. And it's nothing new. I feel like the male species have been doing quite a lot of harm since the beginning. Like, you look at some stories back in, the Bible and stuff like that. Like, men have had this way about them since the beginning of time. And it's been an ongoing challenge for them to evolve. And I think what happened, it's almost like women gave up and started placating to what men wanted, even if it wasn't the best, just to be able to be in connection with someone, as opposed to standing our ground. And I don't know. I think that did us a disservice. I think that has done us a bit of a disservice. But I think both sides are learning. And I definitely think women, the collective of women all over the world, due to social media, the internet, and other women sharing their experiences and, things like that. Women are, the internet, social media has become like a mirror. It has become a mirror. And women are learning a lot from it. It may seem like a mess, but there are a lot of women who are learning from it. And as a result, making better choices for their lives. So, yeah. So, overall, I do see things working out in your favor, but something is calling for you to stand your ground in the face of opposition. Okay? There's some type of tit for tat or tug of war or tension or something like that, but you're being called to stand your ground. You're being called to speak your truth in the face of all of that. In fact, let me see this message here. I'm seeing here on the bottom of the deck, you have the Knight of Swords, and this definitely is giving me speak your truth. And I just want to read what it says to you there. It's the Knight of Swords, or in this deck, it's known as the Aralita of Air. And it says, speak from between your legs. Shout, sing, and scream. Declare your truth loudly without fear. So this is like really giving. So if you look here, this is the Five of Swords in this card. And this is like some type of opposition or some type of resistance. Other people, with other people. The Seven of Wands, in the original Rider-Waite, you see a depiction of a man standing on a hill, and then he has a wand, and then there's like these people below him, waving their wands at him, shaking their wands at him in an aggressive way. And the card is kind of depicting like, even though this is coming at you right now, these people are coming at you in this opposing way, you stand on your rock. You stand firm, you stand strong, stand your ground, okay? Because, the next card after that is the Eight of Wands, and that is things moving effortlessly and you hitting your target. So, and then the next card we have is the King of Wands. The King of Swords. And I feel like this is you really like gaining control of what you want to say, how you want to express it, and delivering it with sincerity and clarity. And I also feel like this is also maybe for some of you, the judicial system, like something being delivered to you, something going in your favor, because you have the Sun card directly after that, and then you have a win-win outcome, okay? And then you have the Scales to me, which is like the justice system. So that could be for some of you. But other than that, I see things going in your favor. I see balance being restored. I see healing. I see you just moving in a direction that is brighter, where you feel more clear and certain about things, where there's a bit more peace in the atmosphere as opposed to tension and disharmony, and maybe even a healing of connection with some people, with certain people, even if that means you possibly not actually being with that person, but healing the connection in terms of like how you communicate, and the energy between the two of you and the children or the child, if that involves that for you. Okay. So let me just pull one more oracle card for you, and then we will wrap this up. Okay. Faces of Oshun card. And so for those of you who are here with this reading today, I know in the beginning I said this will be a two-part reading, and I would adjust the other portion after this one, but I think I'm just going to make this one reading because it's pretty long, and I'm going to make the other portion for the creatives in a different reading. So I will post that at the same time that I post this one. So right after I clear this up, I'm going to use these same cards to read for the other group, okay? In case you're interested in that. Also, during the week, I post a mini pick a card on my community tab, and it's just a picture, little icon of a hand holding 3 cards, and you can pick which one speaks to you, and then just open the information box and you will see your message for the day, for that day. I usually do that on Wednesdays. Post that to my community page on Wednesdays, okay? But I also offer, I post a pick a card reading every Sunday for those of you who are interested. So if you want to know when those post, you can go ahead and subscribe. If not, I'll see you whenever you see my videos again. Okay? Alright, let me go ahead and pick, or get your last oracle card, okay? What's the closing message for the Divine Feminine Collective? we go. And let's see what we got here. Oh my gosh. You have card number 6, Oshun of the Ancestors, Sacred Lineage, Belonging, and Family. Are you kidding me? And this is exactly what we were talking about in the beginning of the reading, the belonging and family. Oh my God. Wow. Wow. And look at this card. There's like coins falling, there's honeycomb, there's honey flowing. She has this big old smile on her face. I feel like some of you are calling in your soul family, your whether that's in a household, like a household family that you desire, or like community, or like family members who may not be family through DNA and blood, but your soul family. And I feel like it's rich in love and prosperity and abundance and well-being and happiness and joy. Aww. This is so nice. And I feel like this is a message from your loved ones on the other side and your ancestors. It's kind of like a hug. Like you're going to be okay. Like there are people waiting for you. There are people who want to be in connection with you and embrace with you. And remember, we have this with the embrace here with the I will wind thee in my arms. I feel like that is such a beautiful way to close out this reading. It's almost like a wink, like a yes, you do belong somewhere and they're waiting for you. Aw, I love that. Guys, I love that. Okay, so I just want to thank you for joining me today. I know this reading was a bit on the long side, but like I said, these general readings that I want to start posting at least once a month will be a bit more lengthy than my pick a card readings. But thank you for sticking around. If you have received any value at all from this reading, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. And I hope to see you in another reading. Love you guys. Bye-bye.